I want to talk about Max Caster because he was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast. That was the one. I didn't have it written down. Duh, that's why. But I want to talk about Max Caster on the podcast because he was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast, and he was saying a lot of things that Baron Corbin had kind of said, because he had made a tweet saying about how they didn't really need Shelton Benjamin there. They had like the best roster. I'm pretty sure that was a work. I would like to believe it was, but I also think there's a lot of truth behind it, in that what Max Caster was saying on this podcast was that he felt that we do have the best roster in AEW. We don't need these outside guys and all that stuff, and that why can't we do why can't we grab our guys and do what we're going to do with these other guys? Why can't we just have our guys do that? And I fully understand what he's saying, because you have the Don Callis family there, and the Hurt Syndicate are getting booked even better, in my opinion. Like, the Don Callis family, I thought could be a super big faction. Don Callis is a very, very, very entertaining mic worker. He's one of the best mic workers in AEW, and I would love to see a lot more there done with it. You had a Mogul Embassy as a pretty big thing, but then you kind of just broke that up, so we can't really, we probably can't put Swerve Strickland back in the faction anytime soon, or probably at all. But I would have loved to have seen Swerve Strickland be potentially with a Powerhouse Hobbs and somebody else, and you form your own Hurt Syndicate instead of going to grab Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. Even though I do like these three guys, I also did not know that MVP was apparently rapping on that song, the We Hurt People song. I did not know he was rapping on that at all, so that's pretty cool. But I would love to see AEW kind of use their guys more, because when you sign these big names, you're taking away from other people. Like, you sign the likes of, I hate to use these names because I feel like I'm like just hating on them, but you sign Mercedes Moné, it takes away from one of the women on your roster. It takes away from Julia Hart, youngest reigning TBS champion. Since then, she's basically done nothing. You've done nothing with Queen Aminata, really. You've kind of pushed her here and there, but not too much. You have Jamie Hayter kind of get pushed down the card. You have Thunder Rosa kind of get pushed down the card as well. Like, when you make the new signing, everybody gets pushed down one, and besides like the very, 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 very top. So Toni Storm, Mariah May, they were safe. Everybody else, though, they lost a little bit of screen time because you got that new big signing, and because they are a super duper megastar, you got to give them even more screen time. You can't just give them, 2-3 minutes. No, you got to give them 5-10 minutes. You got to give their matches 20-30 minutes, because that's how good Mercedes Moné is. She puts on 30-minute matches that are like 5-star classics every single dang time. You go sign the Hurt Syndicate, what do? Private Party gets their big win over the Young Bucks, and we do nothing with them at all. And it's like, because you're preparing for the Hurt Syndicate to eventually get those titles off of them, so it kind of feels like you're just screwing over Private Party's run, because you just want to have everybody say, let's get the titles off of them, because they had like a really good push and had a really big run. Maybe people don't want the belts off of them, but I'm also going to say that I would have loved for Private Party to have a good 6-month run, 5-month, 4-month, 3-month run with the belts, and then put them on the Hurt Syndicate. That was always the plan. That's fine. I don't really care. Like, it's just use your guys as well. And I think that's where like a lot of the Max Casters and Baron Corbins and Toni Storms, etc., and even MJFs, that's where they're coming from, is you can bring these other guys in, make them earn their spots, and also use us at the same. You could bring these guys in, but you gotta make them earn their spots and not just take away from us. Because like you want to bring in the Hurt Syndicate. Okay, cool. I like that. Why did they have to immediately get thrown into the tag division? Because you could have, you ran Shelton Benjamin and Swerve Strickland, Swerve beat Shelton, then you bring Bobby Lashley in and you do one thing with that and you never go back to it ever again. Now, we're probably going to touch back to this very soon in the future. Swerve Strickland does defeat Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. But why did you run that? Like, you just ran that into the ground so quickly, and you never even like went more with it. And you weren't, you didn't put them in the tag division like months afterwards. You had Swerve Strickland off, I guess he was taking a break, but you had him go off air for a while, and then you run Swerve Strickland and Ricochet. I feel like you could have slowed that down a bit. You could have continued Swerve and Bobby, but then the problem is if you continue Swerve and Bobby, what happens? You likely got to have Swerve Strickland lose that feud, because you're going to be having Bobby and Shelton go in the tag division. Or, in my opinion, what you could have done, because you had Bobby Lashley, you had Private Party there. You could have had Private Party come You could have Private Party come help Swerve Strickland, and then that sets up the Private Party versus the Hurt Syndicate. That would have been a much better story. Ricochet is right there. You could have Ricochet, if you wanted to, like I said, you should have had Ricochet with the Hurt Syndicate. You could have had him also trying to prove himself that he has to, that, you know, he wants to be a part of the group, so he wants to hurt people. So when he's attacking Swerve, now you have Swerve getting the edge over him. Then you have the Hurt Syndicate come out. You have the Hurt Syndicate come out and attack Swerve Strickland. Then here comes Private Party, sets up Private Party versus Hurt Syndicate. Now you're actually doing something with the guys on your roster, and you're not just basically screwing them over. And it's not just AEW. This is every single company. They bring in these guys, they take from the other guys that were doing something, like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna pivot away from that. Like, look at Trick Williams in NXT. Defeated Ilya Dragunov, one of the biggest NXT champions, to do what? To lose the belt in like 40 days to Ethan Page. You had Roxanne here with the NXT Women's Championship, going on a historic run, looking like one of the greatest NXT women's wrestlers of all time, looking like one of the greatest NXT wrestlers of all time, carrying the heck out of the dang company. She arguably has a top 5 run with that NXT Championship, men or women, and you just put it on Julia. No. You had her look weak against Julia, had Cora save her, and then for the next few months, she's losing basically every single match besides one tag team match, but she didn't even actually, you know, be there for the win because her and Julia started fighting all the way to the backstage, and then Cora got the win over Kalani Jordan. So why do you need to do this? Why do you need to screw over your own wrestlers with these big signings? Can the big signings not wait? Do we have to just push them immediately? Why can't we, you know, give them time, give them storylines? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And the more annoying thing is, like, with the Hurt Syndicate, because I can understand Julia and Stephanie, they have language barriers. It's hard to build storylines with them because they have language barriers. I get that. Hurt Syndicate don't have language barriers. Prince Nana, MVP is right there. They could have had a whole thing of just going around and just hurting a lot of the locker room. Like that would have been very, very easy to do. But no, you spent like 2-3 weeks, and you probably spent like a month of them feuding with Swerve Strickland, and then boom, that was just it. That was it. They eventually just went on and started doing some kind of like tag team stuff, and then boom, they got the tag belts, and it's just like, well, okay, you just got them that dang quick. You really didn't do much with it. So it's like, why was this the case? Like, why do we have to do this? You threw like NXT Jordynne Grace. She's already gonna be a stand deliver, and sure, she's been there before, like making appearances and all that. She's been there for like a month or two. By the time the stand deliver happens, it'll probably be like 2 months by that time. But it's like, bruh, in 2 months she's already getting a shot. Why can't we slow it down? Now, I understand why, though. Ash understands why. Because of instant satisfaction. That is ruining content, is that people's attention spans have made it to where we can't wait 5-6 months down the line for this new signee to do big things in our company. We have to have this happen immediately. We have to have Julia's first match be against Roxanne. No, actually against somebody else. But then, you know, like I think it was like her second match was against Roxanne Perez. Jordynne Grace, her official second match is going to be against, or third match is going to be against Stephanie Vaquer as Stand and Deliver. She might have a match in between or something like that with her and Jada Parker. Who the heck knows? But basically, like within her first 5 matches, she's already getting a world championship shot. Stephanie Vaquer, within like her first couple of matches, not counting like tag team stuff, just solo stuff, it actually might have been like her second match solo wise. She already got a North American shot. Ricky Saints already got a North American shot and got the North American title. I thought it was gonna happen at Stand Deliver, but it didn't. AEW, you know, like I said, Hurt Syndicate, boom. Mercedes Moné, first couple matches. Wasn't it the first match? Was it not Mercedes' like first match in AEW? She got the TBS title. It might have been like the second or third one, but I'm pretty sure it was the first one. But whatever it was, within the first 5 matches, boom, TBS title. And it's just like, because folks' attention span can't attention span for a long time, we have to basically rush everything, which I feel hurts so many storylines. So when people say like, oh, well, and even myself included, when we say that like, oh, well, you know, these companies can't do this and that, their storylines aren't really hitting as how they would before. It's not just because of the storylines. It's also because it's not just because, you know, the storylines are rushed. It's because the storylines are rushed because the folks' attention span is too damn short. The Bloodline reunited within like 1 week. Why is that? Why is that? Because they know if they would have took months on this stuff, folks wouldn't have cared. Folks started not caring about Naomi and Jade. And mind you, it was not always for the greatest reasons. Like when I said it, I was like, well, there's a really obvious thing you could just do here. The cameras. Like, could you not have said the cameras? You could have easily said that the cameras were taken out. You could have said that, this happened where there weren't cameras, but they didn't do any of that. Other people were saying that, dude, it's taking too long. I don't care anymore. And it's just like, well, okay, you just don't care anymore. That's on you. That's on you. Like this, you should be able to wait 2-3 months for a storyline. Like, my goodness. I got a mutual of mine, good friend of mine, Michael Madlock over on TikTok, who's making a manga, and people are rushing him. And it's like, bruh, it's been a year and a half since he's announced that he's making a manga. Why would you think it's gonna be done within a year and a half? He is like when he said it, he had said, I'm still learning how to draw and write and all this stuff. Why would you think it's gonna take you a year and a half to make something? Like, no, it's not gonna take you like 2-3 months. If it does take you 2-3 months, that shit's gonna be garbage. Like if the story about Naomi and Jay would have been broken way before Elimination Chamber, it would have been just, okay, cool. It happens at Saturday night's main event, or it happens at Royal Rumble or something. Like, nobody cares about that. No, nobody cares. So it's like you have it happen at Elimination Chamber where you have a lot of big things happening, and Royal Rumble is already packed with other things. So it's like, you're not gonna have it happen there. But I do, to go back to what Max Caster was saying, I do feel bad for a lot of these smaller guys because it's like, my bad for hitting the mic. It's like, dang, we can't even have these smaller guys, these mid-card guys, some of these guys that are trying to get into the high card, trying to get to the top card. We can't really give them that spot now because of the new big signing. And like Max Caster was also saying, it would be one thing if these guys earn their way, like Cope is one thing, because Cope, when he came into AEW, he was already like pushing 50. He's on the way out very, very soon. So I understand with Cope, you want to do it real quick. Bobby Lashley, Shelton, I guess I could also make the exception for, because they are pushing 50. But Cope said that he's retiring in like a few years. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin haven't said anything about retiring. And it's like, even then, Cope didn't immediately get a title. There was big stuff going on that eventually led to him getting the TNT Championship. Hurt Syndicate, they just had one simple storyline with Swerve Strickland, and it went on like a few weeks later to get the dang tag titles. And it's like, okay, I guess you really didn't do much of Private Party, but all right. So it's like, I understand why a lot of these lesser guys are upset, because, not lesser, my bad, that's horribly worded. Why a lot of the smaller guys on these shows are a lot more upset by these big signings, because it does affect them. And something I also want to say is that these big signings, they help momentarily, but do they actually help in the long run? Are you getting enough back? Like, I want to use my GM from WWE 2K for a second. Y'all know, like, how when you get like that little thing from Triple H that'll say like, hey, there's this advertisement company that wants to work with you for free and all that stuff, and to bring in like, XYZ. Yes, it's for free, but it's like, you're probably at the most going to get like 3 to 5K fans. Is that really a lot when you're pulling in like 30 to 40,000 a week sometimes? Like, is that really a lot? Now take it into this realm here where we have, actually, let me stay there for a second, because then you have also the other opportunity of, hey, this superstar is going to get picked up for a movie and they'll give you 500, 600K. That's a lot right there. That helps you a lot more than the 2,000-3,000 fans. Maybe the off chance you get 9 to 10K, but most of the time it's usually the lower numbers. Let's look at these superstars that are getting signed. Are they actually doing much? Because I said in the TikTok video that, yes, Logan Paul getting signed to WWE, big name because the WWE puts eyes on them instantly. What happens, though, in the long run? When Logan Paul is barely there, when Logan Paul is barely having matches, are his fans actually going to care? Because they're only there to see Logan Paul. Sure, let's say Logan Paul brings in 500,000 new viewers. You know what? Let's go bigger number. 1 million viewers every time he's on the dang screen. How many of those million viewers do you think are actually staying in WWE, and is it even worth it? I would say of those million viewers, it's probably 2 to 3%, if not even 1%, which I don't even know what 1% of a million is. Let me see. 1% of 1 million is, come on, Google, hurry the heck up. Google, you could have just gave me all this. I ain't need all this dang math now, Google. What the hell? 10,000. It's basically 10,000. I think that's the right number. Yeah. So it's 10,000. Is 10,000 fans? I mean, it's a lot for sure, but is that worth it though? Of the million, and then let's talk about the money that you actually paid Logan Paul. Let's say Logan Paul makes 5 to 10 million. Was that 10,000 fans that he brought in actually worth it? Let's look in AEW. When you make these new big signings, are they actually contributing to retaining fans? Because it's not just for that one segment they're there. Are they there for the entirety of the show? That's the important part, right? I mean, yeah. Are the fans there for the entirety of the show? That's the important part right there. When Hurt Syndicate gets signed, are these folks that are fans of Hurt Syndicate, are they staying for the entirety of the show, or are they staying for that one segment that Hurt Syndicate is there? That's important, because then that really lets you know, was your money worth it? And if they're not staying there, which I would again say that they're probably not, like the 100% that are there for Hurt Syndicate, they're probably not all staying there. I would say probably like 4 to 5% are staying there for the rest of the show. Does that really help? Maybe, maybe not. I don't really know. I don't know, because like I guess for me, for someone that's smaller, when I was doing a lot of anime content on my TikTok and I was trying to promote my book, I got a few folks to go check it out. It was like of the 100 comments that said they were going to check it out, it was like 4 to 5 people that probably actually checked it out, because I didn't really see like an insane spike in numbers for my book. So it's like probably didn't all check it out. I can say from my point of view that it was worth it for me, because 4 to 5 extra viewers helps out my book so much, for being a independent content creator, not signed to any companies, not working with any publishing companies and all that stuff. Is that worth it? Is that 10,000 worth however much money you spent to get Logan Paul, to get Shelton Benjamin, to get Mercedes Moné, to get XYZ? Or could you have just, put some of that money into building up your smaller star to potentially one day be as big as said star? Because Mercedes Moné didn't start out big. Hurt Syndicate didn't start out big. Logan Paul didn't start out big. Big Boom AJ didn't start out big. These guys all, came from ground up. Not Logan Paul, but the rest of them all came from the ground up though. So, they all made their names big. Well, and you know what? I'll be fair. Logan Paul also made his name big as well. Can you not do that with these other guys? Why can't you do that? Can you not build up your stars? If you can't, then that's a you problem. You can't just go grab superstars because you can't build up superstars. That's not good. That's not great for longevity. People get attached to the ones who have been there since day one, the ones that they have seen, come from the ground up and really build themselves up. Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, MJF, Tony Storm. Mariah May is a bit of a different one, because, no, I'm going to give Mariah May that, because we've seen her in other places as well. But, these that have been there forever and ever and ever, they're fans of that. They're the ones that are going to be there for the entirety of the show, because they want to see the next Hangman Adam Page. They want to see the next Swerve Strickland. They want to see the next Tony Storm. They want to see the next, Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa or whatever. They want to see that next person. The ones that you signed for for Shelton, like the ones that came from Shelton Benjamin and Mercedes Moné and Hurt Syndicate and all this stuff, they're not there for, the stars that are going to get built up. They're there to see who are you going to sign next. And that's what all these companies are basically becoming with all these major signings, is who's going to get signed next? Who's going to get signed next? What super duper mega star is going to get signed next? If you go and sign the lesser guys, the smaller guys like the Indy Hartwells, the Isla Dawns, the Blair Davenports, the Cedric Alexanders, the Mustafa Ali's. You go sign these guys that, didn't really do as much, and then you give them, you help them because they had a plan, didn't work in past company, bring that plan to new company, and now boom, it works. I like that. That also does kind of go with the fans that are looking to see who's the next big person to get built up. I like that. But I wish that, we could do more of that and not focus so much and not make so much of a big thing out of these big super duper mega stars that are getting signed. Like, we don't need it to happen every single time. And I understand that you want to sign them because it's just going to help with instant money. But but like, is that instant money worth it in the long term? I guess is my thing, and I think is a lot of people's things, like Max Caster, MJF, Tony Storm, Baron Corbin, etc., etc., etc.